All right, everyone. Welcome to the GTC tournament. First round. All winners so far. We have Fat Scott versus Nintoaster for tonight's race. And on co-comms with me, we have Kevnastics. Welcome on in, Kevnastics.
How you doing, MRock? You're running a wonderful tournament right now with a bunch of the other admins, and I'm super proud to be a part of it. So thank you for that ahead of time. I do want to say I'm very excited to be here to do commentary for Fat Scott and Toaster, good friends of mine in the community. Definitely known both of them about since my beginning of time. I met Nintoaster through the first GT Classic tournament we did, and Fat Scott I might have met at that tournament or another one, but has a PB around a 34 4X, and Nintoaster has a 35 5X PB. Although I think Nintoaster's PB is significantly older, and I do believe Nintoaster's PB is a bootless, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see boots from both of our runners. GT Classic, for those who do not know, you are basically getting the smallest set of items as possible as you need to get through the lava dive and the green gate glitch, so you can go to GT's lair and execute the GT code, which is developer's debug code left in the game. And it's just holding all face buttons while you enter GT's lair while GT is alive. You can't do it once he's been killed. You also have to do it through the back door, because you cannot go left once you hit Lower Norfair, because the chorizo over there will only recognize you if you have space jump. So that's kind of the thing. And the GT Classic will overwrite your inventory to 700 energy, 3 full reserve tanks, 100 missiles, 20 super missiles, 20 power bombs, all the movement items, and pretty much everything except screw attack. You will also have grapple beam and x-ray, but you will not see it on the HUD unless you have a reset. So with that long introduction, we'll get it back to MRock and let us know when the race is about to begin.
And here we
Which
go.
looks like now.
Perfect timing. Yeah, and so our runners are off. Looks like Fat Scott has started, and Nintoaster is here starting right behind him. I'm sure we'll get some sync up here shortly, but thank you for explaining the GT code. A fun category to watch. And in this round, so for the winners and the losers bracket, we will be seeing 2 saves. This is to ensure
Required
that
saves.
required saves. There will be a penalty if saves are missed. And while this may seem harsh, this is so that we can ensure that people are finishing and getting that time and keeping it interesting, because it would sort of suck if one or both runners weren't able to finish. So
I really like how y'all put the rules together. I think that in these early stages, best of one with required saves is a really great way to get the tournament going and to kind of put the brackets together. So I'm really excited about that. We had great qualifying. Qualifying was so user friendly. You could literally just start a race and have somebody come in and race, and then it didn't matter how many races you did. I think we had 76 qualifiers. I'm going to print myself and say I made 26 out of 26 completed races and completed runs, so I was really excited about that. But it was really great. And then once we get through these first couple rounds here, when we get to our best of threes, there will not be required saves. So the best of 3 will mitigate the volatility of the category, whereas in the early stages we're using the saves to mitigate that, because you look at the PBs for Fat Scott and Nintoaster separated by about a minute. Well, GGG reset is approximately a minute, and a lava dive reset is approximately a minute to a minute and a half, depending on whether you're going to refarm or not. So you can still have a pretty compelling race, even if somebody has an unfortunate reset. And we have had situations where we've had multiple resets. We've also had an incredible number of runs that have had no resets. And I do want to point out, we did have one racer who looked like he won, but did not take one of those required saves. And even though he was ahead at the ship by a margin of about a minute and 10 seconds, a minute and 20 seconds, whatever it is, that penalty led his opponent to winning. So the admins are taking their rules seriously, and the runners are doing the best jobs that they can out there. Right now, we have your basically your just normal standard Super Metroid start for virtually every speed run. You're going to get um, you're going to get the morph ball. You're going to get the missiles. After you get the awakening missiles, you're going to go up and get bombs from BT. You're going to get the Terminator E-Tank, and then after that, well, you'll get supers, you'll get early supers at Spore Spawn, and then after that, that's pretty much all you're going to have until you get power bombs before you go to Kraid. And that's pretty much all you're going to have unless you decide to take a couple safeties. Like some runners, might decide to pick up Spore Spawn supers so that they have more tries at the GGG, although the runners in this tournament are, really, really good. I don't think anybody's going to actually take that safety. But some runners might pick up Charge Beam, or they might pick up an extra missile pack to mitigate a potential problem at Kraid, or if they're just used to their standard Charge Beam setup for the Kraid quick kill. So there are a lot of options for safeties. There's a lot of different ways to go. And that said, we'll get back to our runners. Nintoaster plays either on an emulator or a console. Maybe even his actual Nintoaster. phatscott, I know controller-wise uses joysticks. Maybe it's a PS3 controller. I mean, it's wild. I don't know how you can even get to Bomb Torizo using a joystick and not a D-pad, but you could also mention keyboard wizardry. I don't know. I use this SNES controller. But before I continue to monopolize the time, tell us more, Rock. We want to hear from you too.
Yeah, no, thank you for that's a very thorough explanation, so I appreciate it. Watching these two runners, they are relatively in sync, both having your pretty standard early game. I think there was a 44 and a 45 series, each having some mishaps here and there, but only a few seconds separates them. It looks like phatscott struggling a little bit with the climb. I am going to be curious to see what each runner is going to do in preparation for Lava Dive. I say this every race that I've commed, but I love that Super Metroid is so easy to customize. And so for this in particular, you can get extra E-tanks, you can get boots, you can go without boots, much like how you said that you can grab extra supers. So it looks like there's about 7 seconds that separates the two of them. They both get sub 5 bombs. And
yeah, Nintoaster was cruising there. It's important, I think, to mention also both of our runners have talked about shaking off a little rust. You had mentioned that Nintoaster kind of came to the tournament a little bit late in the fold, wanted to join. We're very, very happy to have him here, but we'll admit that he's a little rusty. But I got to say, already looks better than he did in the qualifiers just in this early game right now. So I'm certain the rust is going to be shaken off a little bit. phatscott has had a lot of educational things going on in his life. I believe he just got his teacher certification. So we're all proud of our phatscott as well. So been trying to fit some Super Metroid in there with his, his IRL stuff. So, the sacrifices we make for speed running and speed gaming and, playing this silly little game that we all love so much. I'm really happy to see both of these runners here because I truly, truly enjoy watching them play.
Yeah. And what we're going to see here next, I wanted to point out is that the way that we tackle these pirates differs for each run that we typically do, whether it's KPDR and you're just tanking damage, and PRKD, you shoot them with missiles, much for the same reason you're doing so in GTCs, to preserve that health.
Or MRock, you can be toasty and you can just take damage on all the pirates in GT Classic because you just don't care.
I mean, there's that too, Some of
I know
us are a
Toasty's
little
in
bit
chat,
more,
so I have to shout that out.
some of us are a little bit more ballsy than others, and we appreciate the diverse personalities of our runners.
Toasty. Toasty was one of my first friends and followers in the Super Metroid community. So, there's another person. These tournaments bring so many people together. I haven't seen Toasty in the Super Metroid community, and honestly, probably a couple years. So I am elated that he's here. But let's get to our runners now. phatscott overtakes Nintoaster. Nintoaster had some trouble there getting missiles to open that door to early supers there. So phatscott ended up pulling ahead a little bit. But of course, it's GC Classic, so unless you have a gap of over a minute and a half, it means absolutely nothing until the green the green gate. It really doesn't. I would say that other than like a category of like RBO or maybe to a lesser extent low percent ice, GT Classic is one of the most RNG heavy categories that you can run because the RNG in such a short category matters. Like a slow versus a fast fan tune in a 34-minute category really makes a heckin' big difference. How much you farm. You can sit there at the farm room trying to farm up your super missiles, and that's all RNG right there. You could spend 1 second farming and getting all your drops on the first set of bugs, or you could sit there for like 30 seconds going, thanks for ruining my day, Super Metroid.
One thing I do want to point out, it looks like both of our runners decided to forego picking up charge, and phatscott making it up the red tower pretty quickly. This can be pretty tricky with Nintoaster here. That wall jumping in this game is pretty tricky. And I think is probably one thing that all Super Metroid runners can share in our grievances of breaking spin. I guess maybe if you're not
except the keyboard folk, but the rest of us
there's
have
no
to.
judgment here. There's no judgment.
And GT Classic with the lava dive and with red tower, you need spin control. So that's probably spin control is what gets you the PBs.
And I mean those joysticks that phatscott's playing on. I mean he didn't break spin there, so not dropping any wall jumps.
Well, Scott's a legend. GT Classic legend. So Scott has to watch his energy a little bit because 79 is not so bad. I want to be over 100 personally coming out here because I like to deboost off the Scree. I like to deboost off the Zila going into Kraid's warehouse. I like to, sometimes if I don't have enough ammo, I want to make sure I have enough energy to take a hit by either the key hunter, in the party zone, or when I have to power bomb the pirates because I don't have enough missiles. Generally you have to tank a hit right there if you're not really careful. So Scott and Nintoaster both have to mind their energy just a little bit, but they're both veterans. They shouldn't have too many problems here. Although I will say we did have a low energy runner at this point did get tanked by Mini Kraid in one of our earlier matches. Those that don't know, Mini Kraid does 100 damage. So there's, again, in this category, there's just so much to keep an eye on and think about.
Yeah, the resource management is a big one, right? For both the quick killing of Kraid, as you mentioned earlier, the health. This room being called Party Zone. While I understand it's because there's a lot of key hunters in there, it is not a party that I would like to go to. So I disagree with the naming, but that's fine. And it looks like I do believe that Scott does the 4 supers.
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Sentiment. Yeah, because I too main that at any percent, and
Actually, in this category, maining that is a really good idea because sometimes you can go faster. I've been times where I've gotten to Kraid and I'm like, well, I don't have any missiles, or I have 1 missile. It's like I got to make this work.
But we have seen some DLC in this tournament, so Scott makes it through the quick kill flawlessly, and it looks like Nintoaster is going with the missile strat. Not able to do any lag reduction because of the health. So,
and I'm glad our runners went through. I think we saw one of our newer runners get showcased exactly why Kraid is so difficult in this category. I apologize to call you out there, but without having charge beam, if you do not get the quick kill, usually you're in there with like exactly the ammo you need for the quick kill. So if you blow it all, then you have to farm fingernails to try to get enough ammo to kill Kraid. And if you get into only one of those fingernails has drops, and if you're in a low health situation, then you got to farm up a bunch of little or big healths before you even have a chance of getting any missile drops. So fortunately, both of our runners have avoided that. And they're both at really, really good times right now. For like Scott is sitting here a sub 12 elevator, which I think is a really, really good time for GT Classic. Definitely above average. And look at this, that nice shot there. Nintoaster got a beautiful mock ball, and we're heading to Upper Norfair.
Like we are going to be doing a 2 tank. We will see who grabs the boots and who doesn't. But both runners did skip Kraid tank.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Keeping energy tank in high jump. This is
Scott, I mean, most of us can do a one tank dive. It can make your Magdalite room a little bit slower, and you really have to try to keep as much energy as you can. It's really, really hard to make up the whole 6.66 second fanfare up in time. Nintoaster looks like he's doing the same thing. Evenly matched runners that need any edge they can get. I definitely like this play, especially because we have required saves. It is certainly less risky, although it's still mighty risky. But you know, Scott is deciding to get it. Nintoaster says no.
No, Nintoaster is getting it. Scott
Nintoaster's getting it. Scott said no. I'm sorry, I'm looking at.
That's okay.
You know what? I'm gonna let you talk for a second. You know what's going on here.
Yeah, no, so maybe Toaster thought, you know what, then Toaster thought, you know what, I'm gonna skip this, and then said, you know what, actually, I'm gonna pick this up.
Either that or did what I've done sometimes and jumped too high and missed it on the first go.
Oh,
so,
yes.
All right, I'll get it on the way back.
That is probably a very likely thing as well. So Scott has 18 HP, is taking his first save, so, that is good.
Well, see, this is why I don't know if he's going to be making up that time if he gets through the dive. Yeah. But you know, I'm confident he's going to get through the dive. But I mean, I don't know how worth it is. But it's far be it for me to question somebody whose PB is almost 2 minutes better than mine.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Nintoaster just did a deboost into the saber.
Oh, that's sick. Scotty did that the other day.
I was like, I've never seen that. That's amazing.
Yeah, Scotty did that the other day, and a bunch of us in chat were like, what? So I don't know if that's something Nintoaster mains, or if he's just like, hey, that's pretty swaggy. I'm gonna implement that. Because it does save time. You do get in there faster.
Yeah, you get in there faster. So it looks like Scott did get some pretty good drops. It didn't look like he was farming too long.
No, this is good. He could, with a clean dive, he could come out of here with like maybe 40.
Oh, okay. Deciding to he didn't like that entry, so
yeah, you can do it with a slow roll entry. I can do it with one tank. Scott has more than enough to do this with a quick entry.
Okay.
But yeah, he's going to come out with a little less than 40, so I was close.
Yeah. All right, taking his second save, so Scott not taking any penalties for saves and getting through that lava dive. I mean, even with two tanks, it often doesn't leave too much room for error. Just like, ooh,
dang.
All right, Nintoaster taking that, slipping.
We talked about break and spin.
Yep.
Oh, he didn't even connect on the wall jump. Jeez.
No, and I've heard that ledge can be a bit tricky to get a
like a wall jump check.
Yeah. I think Zoa was telling me about it, and so that is unfortunate. And so thankfully we did get the save. Okay, so
right.
On the third try. This health is a little scary. Okay.
Yeah, that can be super sketchy. Those waivers, if you don't make the GGG on the first try, the rippers get off pattern pretty fast, and it can be very easy to take a death there.
And so my shtick right now is that we have to pause after we enact the GT code, because Spacer is too powerful, and if we shoot our beams with all of them turned on, we will crash the game. And so we have to pause. We turn off Spacer, and our runners will probably turn off gravity. Varia. It looks like that's what Scott did. We'll talk a little bit more about that later as to why they turn off Varia. But here is Nintoaster again. Second attempt at lava dive. Very glad that these runners did take their saves.
Yeah, it still is a real feels bad man moment kind of there, because Nintoaster was just right there and just missed on the last jump, and you saw how easily he was able to do it right there. Definitely has some ground to make up. It's not over yet, you know. Although phatscott is an incredible runner. phatscott is quite amazing at hundo, and the second half of GT Classic, now that we're out of the low percent section, this high percent section, this second half is a big boss rush and has very hundo-like movement.
And I mean, just watching his worst run in the game, those ledge grabs, how fast he got up there. I mean, you could just see that Scott is definitely a seasoned runner, and We're going to be seeing some microwaving, so where we use the X-ray plus plasma beam to exploit some iframes or reset iframes or do something with iframes where we're doing lots of damage to some of the bosses. Maybe you can explain that a little bit better.
I will when we get there. Nintoaster right there, you saw what a difference it makes to get that first try GGG. He was able to take a damage boost off of the Rippers and get through the room with no worry. Hopefully we'll successfully execute this GT code, and does. So that's really great. And not only is Scott spectacular at this game, but GT Classic is one of his best categories. So I would say, aside from Hundo, GT Classic would probably be his second best category. Nintoaster's probably got to be kicking himself just a little bit by nailing that GGG and unfortunately missing the lava dive. I think, I know for me personally, the GGG is significantly harder. But let's see how Nintoaster can make this happen, and let's see how phatscott can capitalize on the lead that he's built.
Yeah, and seeing Nintoaster charge a spark here, so this is one way to get
That's
up.
a cool strat.
Yeah, that's.
I used to do that. Somebody told me that jumping out of there is a little bit faster. I think that it can't be much more than a half a second. It is kind of swaggy. I kind of don't remember why I stopped. I think somebody told me. I think that somebody told me the other way was faster, and I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah, and
that's kind of how the conversation goes with Super Metroid. Like, which strat is faster? And it's like, I don't know which one. Like, maybe if I'm comfortable, this strat is faster. If somebody else is playing it, the strat might be faster. Kind of like how you said that, you just tailor the run to your abilities. And that's just kind of how you can be successful. It's if you're going for more than you're capable of going for, you're just going to be slower, even if the strat is the optimal strat. Like, if you can't do it, it's not optimal. And that was not an optimal Ridley fight, but that was a really, really good Ridley fight. So Scott is just cruising through Lower Norfair right now. Nintoaster looks really good too. Nintoaster looks solid.
Yeah, and it can be hard to make up time at this part of the race, but I think despite having to reset the lava dive, Nintoaster is cruising, and our runners here are gonna high five. Very cute. Going for that Kago. Determined to get that Kago. Kagos anyway, so typically we take a spike hit before Kagoing because the Kago does a significant amount of damage compared to...
I think it's 50,
Kago,
but I'm not entirely sure.
But,
so, I go for the double try to Kago strat.
Kagoing both of them?
No, trying to Kago, where you try to Kago each of them and you miss both.
Okay, I see. Okay.
So I don't know what there was definitely a tournament. I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was Maniacal. Was like, hey, there you go, the double try to Kago, and the guy missed them both, and so I took that. So what is GT Classic? I don't know if we have a command in chat, but GT Classic is basically, we're using a developer's debug code, which gives us a plethora of Super Metroid artillery and and dress, and then we kind of run through the game, and it becomes a boss rush. Now we do have X-ray beam, which is on the HUD. Emrock was talking about X-ray and microwaving, which we're going to see when we get to Meridia. We cannot see it on Ridley because in the intended way of the game, you're supposed to have plasma at Ridley, so the plasma beam does not pierce Ridley. Same thing with Mother Brain. But some of the enemies that you face that you're not supposed to have plasma for, plasma will pierce them. And you can use the X-ray beam to buffer it so that this isn't the technical explanation, but it's like the microwave beam for dummies. It essentially resets the enemy's iframes, and the plasma beam hits them multiple times between your X-ray beam buffers. And it's kind of fickle. It's kind of weird how you have to do it, which we'll see a little bit why the runners will crouch down when we get to Dragon. But meanwhile here, phatscott, who has already broken the tube, is going to be shooting up through Meridia, and I'm kind of hoping we see a space jump strat through Everest instead of the traditional spark, but both are certainly valid strats.
Yeah, and really liking that spring ball Kago upwards through the Ellen spiky elevator.
really good. Nintoaster is a regular of our any percent runs and does KPDR, any percent races. So this is a very KPDR exit from Lower Norfair, with the exception that you have screw attack.
Yeah. And just watching, you can see that both of these runners are seasoned. Despite sprint breaks or small shambles, their movement is otherwise clean. You see the ledge grabs, you see them rushing. They have a lot of familiarity. So here's our first microwave. So the thing about microwaving, and that was clean, that one super is pretty common to shoot at the end. There is a specific rhythm to it. You can hold X-ray for too long, not long enough, too fast, too slow, whatever it may be. And so you do have to get it just right, that Goldilocks, so that you are doing the right amount of damage. So pretty
full
standard and pretty good. Oh, nice.
I knew that setup looked good. You got those wall jumps. You have a timer on your Shine Spark there, so you have to do very concise wall jumps, and you have to get a ledge grab here. So you got to shoot the door, get the ledge grab. It is really, really tricky, and you also have to jump to a specific height so you don't do the happy. So that is a very elite move, extremely well executed by phatscott.
And so here we are. We're gonna see our second microwaving. So we call this microwave shrimp because Dragon is a shrimp and is the bane of most of our existences in this Super Metroid speedrunning realm. And if you're good at Meridia, then it must be nice.
Yep, Scott is the coworker that everybody hates at work. Do not microwave you shrimp.
That was a 1 round. That was beautifully done. He did try to go for that spring ball spike suit, but did pull a Goop or a Nevdi or a Carl, or you name the runner who's up sparked on accident.
The traditional name is the Goop Spark. So I think there was a runner named Goop that I guess must have done that at a pivotal moment. It's kind of funny how we arrive at names. It's either because somebody did something awesome or they screwed up really bad.
Yeah. The Leodox one, which is the terrible room anyway, in any format of this game that you play. But again, one of the runners where
if you have a chance to watch Wild Anaconda 69 versus Leodox, any percent, that is one of the most infamous matches. You can go to wiki.supermetroid.run and watch it on our Race Hall of Fames. We actually, on our wiki, we do have a Race Hall of Fame where some of our most incredible races are showcased.
To pause you for a second, watching Nintoaster do the microwaving of the snake, seemed like he went a little too early, but was able to still get a 1 round by bouncing back, shine sparking into the wall. Again, that's just showing how fickle things are, but also when you are a veteran at this game, you can pick yourself up and still get that 1 round. So making his way to Dragon, and Scott hopefully remembering to go to Phantoon and not straight to G4 instead of making.
I hope he goes to G4 because it'll make the race more exciting.
Yes, that too.
And there is a race in our Hall of Fame where somebody had a G3. I'm just going to say that, a GT Classic race. G3 would be interesting. But no, Scott does get through. Nintoaster's doing a good job, and then I forgot my next point of everything that I was going to say, so I'm going to send it back to you.
Yeah, that's fine. So here is Nintoaster. Okay, setting up for Dragon. Let's see how he makes of the shrimp. All right, gets a 1 round as well. So one of the reasons you see, or the reason you see people crouching when they are X-raying or microwaving Dragon is that Dragon's death animation forces Samus to stand up, and so it signals to the runner that Dragon is indeed dead. So as you saw there. And Scott here at Phantoon. So again, we get to microwave Phantoon. I think I yesterday said microwaving Ghost, and someone said calamari because he looks like a squid, and I loved that. So I am borrowing that one. I'll get it back, I promise. All right, looks like we're getting a slow. which is the most common pattern. As frustrating as it may be. All right, and getting that on screen. That's nice.
I like how Professor School described that last night. In order to menu, you can't use a charged plasma shot when Phantoon opens his eye because he'll go right off the screen. So you have to use a missile so that you don't do too much damage. But after you do the missile, you have to menu over to your X-ray beam, which you cannot see on the HUD. It's just 4 taps of the item select button, and then you're there. So, if you have that kind of menu control, it makes an on-screen significantly easier, but it definitely is tricky because if you over menu, you're not going to notice that you did not select X-ray until you just don't have it.
Yeah, and it can be tricky because you do have to, also use those 2 missiles, or doing those missiles in the beginning, and being able to menu is another tough skill of Super Metroid for sure. I'm just now getting into Hundo, and I'm doing more menuing now than I have probably in my 1 year of speedrunning, and it's definitely a skill.
The best story I have about menuing is apparently Farrell was so stubborn that he would not use item deselect. He would just always use item select, and that made running a Hundo absolutely agonizing for him. It's like, me personally, I don't know how you can run Hundo without knowing how to, menu well. Like using item cancel is a strat.
It is,
especially in Turian.
All right, and we saw Scott turning off Varia in the beginning, or during the GT code, and that is going to. So Varia is good for heat, but so is gravity in the vanilla game anyway. And the other good thing that Varia does is protect runners from, or protect Samus from, the rainbow beam that Mother Brain does at the end, and the baby taking the life from Samus. So oftentimes runners will turn it off when they plan on doing the stand-up glitch at the
It
end.
also makes it so that if you have Varia off when Mother Brain does the rainbow beam, it takes you down to exactly 100 energy beam, which will activate the next cutscene. So it does make it a little easier. You don't have to worry about rushing the damage down with Varia. Now, looking at the time, Fat Scott right now, I know if I enter Turian at like a 2019 time, that I can pull off a 36 or even, with the baby skip, sometimes without. Scott is better than me. So I feel like Scott is probably on a low 36 pace, maybe a high 35 pace if he gets baby skip, if he has really solid Metroid rooms. But still, this is a really, really decent pace, especially for a race. One of the better paces we've seen so far.
So Scott is saying that he's plus a minute 20 at G4 and has a low 36 pace at the moment. So you were right in your calculations. So I was gonna say something and I forgot. Oh, and so for Turian, because the runners or Scott has screw attack on, you're seeing that he is at least those rooms attacking each Metroid individually instead of grouping them, because the Metroid's kryptonite is indeed screw attack. So menuing there, especially Metroid 3, is always impressive to me.
I am so bad at Turian that I menu off screw attack before I go down there because I just use like grouping strats, and I'm just so bad at room 1. I just get through faster when I group.
Yes. Yeah. And that's at the beginning of my Hundo journey right now. I've been menuing off screw attack. All right, so going for the boomer skip, Scott. Interesting.
Scott is probably the youngest boomer we have. Him and MM2 with the boomer skip.
True.
They're
and
very,
MGA.
very nice stuff. Yeah, that's true. MGA is slightly older than the other two.
All right, so does get the baby skip. So Nintoaster now also approaching Turian. Boomer skip because it was the original skip.
I'm a boomer skip, but I'm pretty close to boomer age, so.
All right, so flawless spring ball skip there, and so Another reason people usually menu off screw attack is so that they can zeb skip the first step there.
Is that a little Hoenn shuffle to get iframes from Scott right there? That was cute.
I missed it.
So just to get iframes to get through that zeb, he did a little like shuffle back and forth. It reminded me of the Hoenn shuffle, which is a kind of a way you can move while you're crouching.
So, excuse me. Nintoaster saying that he thinks he's at about a mid 38 pace right now. So it sounds like about a minute and a half separating our runners, which does make sense with that reset. Specifically.
Yeah, that's what we did call the dive, was about a minute and a half. And Scott is at pauseless. GG, wow. Solid Turian for Scott.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not the most optimal Metroid rooms he can do, but it's seriously well done skip. Very, very excellent baby room. I'm sorry, mother brain room. Very good stuff.
Second, Nintoaster struggling in Metroid 1. Hopefully can get, okay, just going to the powerbomb method. 3 powerbombs takes the Metroids off of you. This is a little sketchy, so hold please. Okay, and kills him. Oh boy, that would have been tragic. So kind of getting tripped up again, freezing the Metroids and that menuing, and then the screw attack just can really throw you off too. But quick thinking to kill them before they killed him. So sorry about that. Looks like Scott successfully did the stand-up glitch.
Yeah, sometimes bombing those Metroids off you is just, they just don't want to let go. You have to have really precise timing. It's really hard.
Especially under pressure, you know, especially depending on how...
If I had $1 for every run in any percent or RBO that I died in Metroid Room 1. For that same reason.
It only happened to me once, and I learned my lesson, and now I farm up just a little bit more before going to Torian.
Gotta go fast.
Alright, so Nintoaster also boomer skipping and successfully making it. Look at these boomers.
Yeah, boomer skip a little bit slower than Stashio, but some of us who've been running the game for a while, it's what we learned, and we spent so many hours grinding that heckin' skill. I'm not ready to give it up yet either.
You know what? As long as they're comfortable with it and it makes the game fun, then you do you. There's no judgment here, and so Nintoaster
unfortunately does not have the ability to do stand-up.
Okay, tries going for the and gets it the second attempt. But these Rinkas are really bullying him. Oh boy.
Yeah, so many rooms when you get off rhythm.
Exactly. Alright. Which to spring skip. Spring ball skip is like the most difficult skip.
I mean, I don't know. We saw Idol pull off a legendary play just the other day. But I'm going to have to call up Idol and see if I can get a tutorial.
Alright. And here is Scott making his way to the ship, so get your GGs ready. And it looks like calling it with an official race time of 36:14. So
yeah, GG phatscott. Well played.
Scott.
So if you take out those 2 saves and the farm room, Scott's at probably a low 35. So this was an incredibly well executed run. Not quite to Scott's PB level, but honestly not that far off. Probably only about, like, if you take out the saves in the farm room, probably about a 30-second difference between that run Scott did right now and his PB. So firing on all cylinders and pulling out a win against Nintoaster. phatscott25 moves to the next bracket, and Nintoaster will drop down to the losers bracket. But Nintoaster, with the exception of that missed dive, Nintoaster put together a really solid run too, and probably wouldn't have had the yips and Turian, if the run had gone a little bit better for him. But I would say, aside from the Turian slip up in that reset, Nintoaster ran very near a 36 pace too. So really, really solid play from both of our runners. Just that unfortunate reset that set Nintoaster back. And I think at the time, Scott and Nintoaster were separated by less than 30 seconds.
Yes.
Or,
yeah, in the beginning too, there was definitely some shifts back and forth. So, and so this is a double elimination. So, just because Nintoaster didn't pick up the W this round, he will still have another opportunity to battle it out. And then the winner of the losers bracket and the winner of the winners bracket will go head to head, I think. I should know that.
I kind of hope so, actually, because that's really exciting. And looks like Nintoaster's next opponent will be Insane Firebat. So we have an OG classic coming up soon. How sweet is that? I think Nintoaster and Firebat might be the ones in the tournament who run this category the longest. Maybe Toasty too. And of course Zost. We got a bunch of people in this category who've been running this for ages, longer than me. I got 5 years in.
All right, so gets through Mother Brain 3, and because he didn't have enough health, couldn't do the stand up, but made pretty quick. Had to do some menuing there to fill up his health a little bit, but ooh, a solid 3 flat out the door. And a non-broken door. All right. Escape is off to a great start.
Yeah, I think we so in Firebat says that Nintoaster was a bit of an inspiration for him in this category. I think Insane Firebat let out some lore during one of Nintoaster's commentary. I think it was that Nintoaster was the one who pushed Firebat to do no boots. So those of you that like Super Metroid lore, and Firebat could certainly clarify.
All right. So get those GGs ready for Nintoaster and then for both of our runners. Almost finished. All right, and with an official race time of 40:09, Nintoaster finishes his run.
Yeah, I'm certain it's not the way he wanted his run to go, but still really great to see him running this. And, I'm very, very interested to hear what the runners have to say about their run. So hopefully we'll get some interviews here. So that's the thing. This is why we have those required saves, because the runners get a chance to go. So we have an entire race that's not just given. Scott still had to pull out all the hard strats, still had to not soft lock at Mother Brain. I mean, Scott was cruising and going so fast. There's so much going on. I don't even think we had a chance to talk about the soft lock possibilities on Mother Brain with stand up. So, just a really, really just awesome stuff. And that lower bracket now is getting stacked. I'm getting scared. I'm still in the upper bracket, but my next opponent is Zost. So, I'm taking a look already at the losers bracket to see where I'm going next, to be honest.
Let me get these runners an invite. Oh, invite permission required. All right. Well, yesterday I was able to invite people, but this time, for whatever reason, I cannot.
They should be able to go to the speed gaming. They should be able to jump in on their own. I'm not sure. I think that's. But they should. Well, did you mark? Oh, you know why? We have to mark them, MRock. We have to mark that they won. Or we have to mark Fat Scott as the winner first before he gets an interview. That's my bad. I forgot to.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm new. I'm sorry. Thank
No,
you,
that's so.
Jestro.
I'm trying to look and see where these controls are.
That's all right. Jestro said that both were marked, so.
Okay,
now.
cool. I don't see it though.
Oh, mark
Usually,
on broadcast. Wait, mark on broadcast. 1 second.
all right.
Everybody, we're gonna get there.
I think I did it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? What's a little shambles in commentary? You know what? It's fine.
I know. I'm sorry. I got so wrapped up in the race, I forgot that the interview. Poor Scott's been sitting there for 5 minutes waiting for. Sorry, y'all. Whoever's just joined us right now, I just marked the match.
All right, Scott and Nintoaster, come on in.
Yep, I'm here.
All right.
GG, Scott.
GG.
With 2 saves and the farm room. You still pulled off a 36-11, so I would say if we discount that, you were running very close to PB, like within 20, 30 seconds of PB for all that stuff. You were ripping through the game and showcasing some really excellent play.
Yeah, I think that my late game actually went pretty well. I think, let me look at my splits here. I lost like a minute due to the saves and whatever else and the extra farming and entering Lower Norfair, but between Lower Norfair and the end, I only lost 25 seconds total. So if that was a run where I had played out my early game a little bit better, I probably would have finished like only 30, 40 seconds behind. And discount. I also was 10 seconds behind at Bomb Tours, though. It was a pretty bad early game. I was really nervous.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was sitting there going, what's happening to Scott over here? Usually Scott's got like a 440 something, 4 X bombs.
I don't know what happened there. I was like, I think what tripped me up is normally when I go through Parlor and into the climb room, I normally turn around through the door, and because I didn't do that, I overthought it. And at first I thought I was gonna miss a platform when I could have made it, and then after that I kind of just lost my tempo with that room. I guess I don't know. Usually I never have problems with climb. That's like the first time I've had problems with that room in a very, very long time. But that's okay. It wasn't that bad.
I kind of feel like when you make some of those mistakes in the early game, it kind of relaxes you a little bit because you're like, all right, well, I've already made a mistake. Well, okay, it's done. Let's just play.
It's definitely true that especially because I haven't gotten a lot of chances to play. When I first jump into a race like this, and it's been a while, I'm super nervous for the first 5 minutes. It takes me until getting a Bond Torzo to get my nerves in order, and then after that,
I'm gonna echo what War Drinker said. You beat my best time with saves and all the other shenanigans, and I can say the same thing there. Incredible. GG Fat Scott. Do we also have Nintoaster here? I want to say GG to Nintoaster, and then you guys can talk to each other a little bit.
I'm here. Congrats, Scott. Man, that was a pretty solid time.
Thank you, and GG.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of knew coming into this it was I was not expecting much, but man, I didn't expect to completely unravel in the second half of the run there. But that's how it goes, I guess.
You had a really, really good pace going down into the lava dive there. I think it looked like farms, the bugs weren't dropping pretty well, but you really weren't that far behind Scott, who was also running pretty well. I think your early game in a lot of parts looked really, really sharp. It's just unfortunate that you missed that wall jump check there at that last jump on lava dive because your second dive was flawless. And your GGG was beautiful.
Yeah, at least that part worked out. But yeah, I think I took damage from one of the flames because otherwise I should have had enough health to try another jump. But yeah, I probably took damage from the flame, and that pretty much sealed the deal for that attempt. But yeah, I mean that's the way it goes, man. In this category, you practice and practice, and then as soon as the race starts, you just forget everything because all the strats I practiced didn't work out. But yeah, that's Super Metroid.
Well,
for sure.
There's you're just making the losers bracket just even more difficult, and I'm sitting here sweating my next race because I'm sitting there going, all right, well, who am I going to have to face in the losers bracket? And that's the crazy thing about this tournament. Everybody is good, so it doesn't matter what kind of happens. Both brackets are outstanding. I think the pool of racers in this category. It's just so deep. It's just going to be exciting for the rest of the tournament. So I would still say, you got a solid chance to put up some really good races down there. Although your opponent is Firebat.
Oh boy.
That's what I say every time I race him.
Well, hopefully he's not. Well, we'll see. Firebat's a good runner. I'll try my best, but he's short of missing Lava Dive. He's got a really good. Yeah, I know. There's not much you can say. It's just his movement is top notch, and it'll be a fun race regardless. We race every Friday on the 90%, so it's always a fun time. And
do we know who Scott? Do we know who Scott's racing next?
I just had it up. Can you give me just a quick second? And by quick, I mean it's going to be slow. Okay. It looks like Scott will be racing Rusty. Iron Rusty. Nice. So
that ought to be a good matchup. And hey, do we have to, Nintoaster, do we have to wrap this up before 11 so you can do the any percent race?
Oh no, that's okay. I'm not going to do that tonight. Yeah, I've had enough of Super Metroid for one night.
Now, so is there anything else you guys want to say about your run or about your feelings about the tournament here and what you got going forward?
I would just say that I'm definitely pretty excited for this tournament. I'm probably not going to be able to commit as much time as I have to previous tournaments, but at the same time, given for the most part how well I played today, I actually feel a lot better about this overall than I was going into it today. So if I can hopefully keep myself fresh on this, then I could potentially get a little bit further in the tournament, and that would be pretty nice. My goal in this tournament anyway is to at least do better than I did in the previous one I played in 2022, and I think with this time I already beat any time I ever set inside of that tournament, so I'd say it's going pretty well so far.
Yeah,
Scott was so worried about this race.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Scott was saying he was worried about rust and not having time to practice, and then I think you're like 25 seconds off your PB or something. You were saying?
Well, like I played within 25 seconds of my PB after Lava Dive. Like it was actually
if you take the saves out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, makes sense. No, yeah, that's a solid time, man. That's really awesome. I mean, I'm sure you'll put a challenge forward to your next opponent, and good luck in the rest of the tournament, man.
Yeah, thank you, and you too as well.
Thanks.
Thank you too for putting on a great show, and we're looking forward to seeing you both in your next race. Hopefully you had fun, and Kev, thank you for hopping on and doing co-coms with me tonight. It is always a lot more fun when there are two here. Any parting thoughts by anybody?
I just want to say how much I enjoyed watching phatscott and Nintoaster, and I'm glad that I could be here with them, and I'm glad I got a chance to do commentary with you. I am definitely looking forward to seeing more of what phatscott's able to pull off, and Nintoaster, I've always enjoyed your commentary, your streams, your play. You're both runners I admire, both runners that I really enjoy. So when I had a moment and I realized that I could jump in on comms, even though I have to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work tomorrow, it's worth it being here to watch this tournament. Worth it to be here with friends and see you all do well. I had a great time tonight.
One last thing is we do have a day tomorrow full of races. I think we have 3 matches starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and it is going to be in Pacific time when I announce it right now because I am West Coast. So starting at 9 a.m. All throughout the day, we have European races, we have races all over the world. So stay tuned for those. But all right, thanks everyone, and we'll definitely see you next mission.
See you next mission.
Adios.